Hi everybody, welcome back to Freehand Friday. My name's Bev. So if you haven't been here before, Freehand Friday is a little project that me and Sam do every Friday. We're using our products, we just work freehand to create something. Sam's done some awesome sort of writing techniques, and it's just basically so that you could use some of the mediums you have to craft. So you don't have to buy any stamps or anything to do it. It's just really to have a play with some of the mediums you have on some of the surfaces you already have. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create a sort of background, sort of an abstracty watercolory background. Now I do these a lot using dilution sprays, but I'm going to go in today using my Inktense because I haven't used them in absolutely ages. So we're just going to start getting some colour on. I'm working in my Dina Wakley media journal, and it's got this really heavyweight cotton paper in it, and it's just, which is quite sort of it's really good for techniques and stuff. You can of course gesso it first if you want to and things like that, but it's really good for accepting the mediums even if you don't. So it's really a personal choice, but it's got this beautiful texture which is really fun to use. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of like lay down some colours in terms of a background, and then we'll dry that off and we'll do some freehand paint and pen work to add in some detail after. So as you can see, I'm not really giving it too much thought or, you know, putting too much pressure on myself where the marks are going. It's just a case of adding on, because it honestly, it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't. And you just want to create sort of lovely flowy background. You can always heat in between, you know, set some of these colours, you know, if you don't want them to move again. I'm actually just going to add a little bit more red in here because I did go overboard with the water a little. I want that a little bit more intense, because when that dries, that will sort of fade back quite a lot. Okay, at least just in a couple of areas. Okay, so then I think I'm just going to give that a little waft with the heat tool. As always, your heat tool works so much better when you plug it in. And I think that will be something that even, you know, the most novice crafters amongst you will probably have guessed. Okay. So I'm just going to sort of almost heat set some of those edges. I do have a tendency to overwater. If you've been, you know, if you've seen me on Freehand Friday before, or you've joined in with any of our Try It Out Tuesdays, you know, you will know that. I think it's because I like the way the ink and everything moves when it's wet. Do you know what I mean? You get that sort of... What we're going to do is we're going to start adding in a few little mark making bits now, I think. Just little ones. Nothing too major, you know. I have, like I say, the other watercolour ones I've done before, sort of creating a watercolour-esque type background. I haven't used watercolours, I used dilutions, ink and whatever. The lovely big brushes from Dina Wakley are great for that as well. I'll tell you what this is missing, and that is a lovely dash of sort of magenta, which is always a joy. The magenta type colour. Okay. Right. And then I'm going to take a few bits of that magenta and we're just going to do some tappy bits over the top, because while it's so wet, they're going to wick really nicely too. Do you know what else we haven't put any in? Bit of a citrusy green, but I am going to come back in with green, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick pause while I heat set that, and then we're going to come back and start adding in some more details. Okay, so I've dried that off. Okay, and now I've got a smaller brush, and we're going to go in with some more intense colours, but I'm not going to water them down as much. So for example, I'm going to go back to this magenta. A little bit more than that's going to be needed though. Try to use it almost like dry stick. So we're going to add in, you can just see the intensity of colour is just so much bigger. So you can really sort of make it go with however you're feeling or you see it going. But it doesn't have to be just the colours that are really intense like this one. So you can go for, you know, you can mix yourself up a sort of paler pastel-y blue. For example, and add that in, because sort of like the pastel tones of that really do sort of contrast with the brights. And I think it's sometimes nice to have a pastel contrast, because it's just not the obvious, is it, way of you know, creating a contrast. Usually you think of something more intense, more vivid, and something like that. So we're gonna carry on, and then we're gonna go, yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with this magenta because I absolutely love it. And we're gonna go and we're gonna create some leaves. So we're gonna take a stem from here, and we're gonna create a leaf there. And then the main one there. So what I'm actually going to make that the centre line. And there's a line going down here. Okay, so now we're just going to start adding in different marks. So what I might do is speed this up depending on how long I'm going to take. I will keep talking just in case I decide not to in the edit, but you know. Some those. I'm going to go some yellow flicks on the top because now that's dry underneath. Oh, some orange. We haven't done any orange. Some little orange circles, and you can build on top of the more intense ones you've already done. And then, oh, I did say I was going to do some more with a really vivid green, didn't I? Yes, that's actually what I was planning for my leaves. So we'll do some little leaves coming down here. Maybe some others. We're going to add some more detailing using our fine liner 2 and our Posca pen. Like I say, don't worry about adding extra. So I think all this needs now is a little bit more yellow. I've got that quite dirty, so I might need to wash that out a little bit. It always amazes me that once when I was scrapbooking, I didn't have anything yellow to go with the layout. Now, yellow is sort of like my go-to colour. like I say, if you've seen me use my dilution sprays, I mix yellow with absolutely everything. So again, add a few more of those. I'm going to add a few white ones as well. And then we're going to come back in and do some pen work. Let me just dry that off. Okay, so I've got a few different pens with me that I'm hoping will help me finish this off the way I want, but I'm starting to worry it's not gone the way I want, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So first of all, I'm going to go in with my Posca and add some of my favourite things, okay? Because I just think I need to reclaim a little bit of the white space. So I'm going to add in some of my little heart shapes. I think I might reclaim some of the white on these leaves here. So I just think it'll just take a little, oh, sorry about that. I was sure I turned my phone off. But no, haven't. And then maybe just add in a little bit of hand drawn around these. Doesn't have to be super neat. That's not what this is about, okay? It's all about just creating backgrounds. Because if you wanted to go back in, for example, after this and add a stamped image over the top or a sentiment over the top, you absolutely could. Of course you could. But you don't have to, and that's kind of the point. So I'm going to do some more semicircle rainbows. I absolutely love these. And then a little bit reclaiming that stalk there. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with, I've got some of the Moonlight pens here from Jelly Roll, Secure Jelly Roll. And these are really fab, and they're really, again, they're really high pigmented colour. You can just sort of add these in anywhere. You can watercolour with these as well, but once they're set, they're set. They're kind of like intense in that way, Inktense. Which again, make them really good for this sort of thing. So do you know what? I'm going to end up not using my black highlighter at this rate. So we're going to go in here. I'm just going to sort of doodle that leaf sort of around how we've painted it, so it doesn't have to be exactly how we've painted it. It can be, because that's what sort of gives it more of the freehand energy, I think. And we'll go around some of these. And to be honest, when I'm doing these freehand pages, I treat them like I do any of my art journal pages. And again, if you've watched on Try It Out Tuesdays or things like that, you can catch up with those right here on YouTube. You don't have to go to Facebook. With my art journal pages, I don't pretend at all that they always go exactly how I want them to, because that would be an out-and-out fabrication of the truth. So I do sort of work on a keep going until you like it sort of policy. So if you don't like what you've done, you haven't finished, just keep going. Add more, then take it back out if you don't like it. You know, that's okay. You know, it's just gesso over that bit if you don't like it, and then go back in. But I do honestly, generally, I just keep going until I like it, because if I don't like it, I haven't finished yet. And that's generally how I go with everything that I create. It's if you're not done, if you don't like it, you haven't finished. Just keep going. Adding more, because I am also a firm believer. Sam was talking about this in a live this week. I'm a firm believer in more is more. Not less is more. More is more. Because literally, more is actually more. So no one can say I'm wrong. Okay, and then I'm going to add a few more of these down here. And then I'm going to add a couple more white dots, I think. I'm just going to go in those in a couple of random, and then around these circles here. And then I'm going to take off the tape. So we've got this lovely little frame piece. And then I've been doing this a lot this week, so I'm going to do it here too. I'm just going to lift those out the way because they're stopping me moving my book. Okay, I'm going to do a sort of a loose line around here. And then, oh, went too far. I'm going to do a loose line around the edge. And I absolutely love that. But obviously you could add a word to that. You could add, you know, a stamped image to it. I have some very nice birds coming up this week. I might add to those to it. But just have fun, play, and like I say, if you don't like it yet, maybe it's just not finished.